Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Al Buraimi in Oman. If you know my channel, I think Oman is a really fascinating place, and this place is no exception. You can see the town of Al Buraimi here. And if you look at this map, you can see that it is very close to the border of the United Arab Emirates. And we're definitely going to talk about that a little bit later. But the rest of the area is very, very mountainous. The Al Hajar Mountains cut straight through this area. So pretty much all of Al Buraimi is mountains. Very beautiful mountains. The Al Hajar Mountains are stunning. But there is a little bit right about up here that is made up of desert. You can see here on this map, this is the Arabian Desert. It's the largest expanse of sand in the world. I know people associate that with the Sahara, but the Sahara actually has a lot of interesting geographic features all throughout it. The Arabian Desert does not. It is sand all through this area, making up a lot of the southern area here of the Abu Dhabi Emirate, and it goes up a little bit here into Oman. So this area here is pretty sandy and barren, but the people here like to camp in areas like that, which I assume is really beautiful, especially at night when it's nice and cool and all the stars come out and you just see nothing but sky and stars. It must be gorgeous. But pretty much anyone in this area lives here in the city of Al Buraimi. I think that's all for geography. So let's talk about the history, because people have been living here for a very long time. You can see it's right next to Al Ain, which is part of Abu Dhabi. It is these areas have been very closely linked all throughout history. They're pretty much one big entity, because this area here is a big oasis area where it's very lush. Lots of date palms grow there. Great place to graze your animals, particularly camels, right? And the area here is part of a territory, I guess, that was known as Tawam. And there are lots of really cool archaeological sites from ancient Tawam. Most of them are on this side of the border in the UAE, but there's a little bit over here in Oman. And Tawam apparently means the twins. So the twin towns here in the oasis. A lot of things would rise and fall in this area in terms of tribes and tribal leaders, but the one thing that has not is the religion of Islam. Once it was brought over here to this part of the world, it has stuck and is still the predominant religion. That would have been in the 700 CE. So yes, many tribes have lived in this area, and then other tribes would come and conquer it. The prevailing one, the one that lasted the longest, was the Nuaimi tribe, which is the current ruling family of Ashman up here, which we've also talked about. Little pockets of Ashman still remain over here. But, yeah, I don't know what else to say about this section. You guys get it. Many tribes would come and go. And by go, I mean forced out. There was one movement that was really huge in Saudi Arabia back in the 1800s, known as the Wahhabi. It's technically like a sect of Islam, right? But it's more political than religious, from what I understand about it. And there were Wahhabists in the area here back during the height of that time. It was much, much bigger over further in the peninsula here in Saudi Arabia. Much, much more of a political influence than it was over here. But that would come back to bite them in the late 1940s. Saudi Arabia was pretty established. The areas here were not. These were still the Trucial states, which were controlled by Britain. Oman wasn't independent yet. It was mostly made up of just the Sultanate of Muscat and the Imam of Oman, but it wasn't one entity yet. It was all very British influenced. But Saudi Arabia by this point was doing its own thing, and they said that they controlled this oasis area. And when you look at this map, you're like, kind of far from Saudi Arabia. But remember, there is nothing here. Like, there are things here. There are oil wells and oil towns, but there wasn't back then. Saudi Arabia knew there was oil here. That was the main reason they said this is part of Saudi Arabia for sure. And they did a couple things to try to insert themselves into the area, quite literally. One was that they would send people into the area to talk to the locals and be like, look, this area is historically Wahhabist. Saudi Arabia is historically Wahhabist, and therefore, la-di-da, it's part of Saudi Arabia. They also just straight up invaded, and I want to say 1949. There's a town just south of Buraimi called Hamasa. We'll take a look at it because there's lots of cool historical sites. It used to be the capital of like this whole area of Oman. They straight up invaded. So the Trucial states and the imams and sultans over here were like, Great Britain, help? Like, you're supposed to be preventing this kind of thing. That's the whole reason they were occupying. So Britain certainly did. They helped work out negotiations. There was a big conference over in Jeddah where Saudi Arabia decided to give it up peacefully, thankfully. It didn't become a huge conflict, but it's known as the Buraimi, oh my gosh, I didn't write it down, like the Buraimi conflict. But thankfully it did not turn into an all-out war. It got kind of iffy, got really close to it, especially with the invasion of the area and the Saudis exerting influence over the area, but it did not become an all-out war. And then I'll show you on Google Earth in a bit, but you can really tell once they had to figure out what would be the Abu Dhabi Emirate, what would be Oman, that they pretty much just drew a line through the territory here and said, that's Oman, that's Abu Dhabi. Al Ain is the birthplace of the founder of the Emirates, so it was a really big deal that this part be part of Abu Dhabi. And the rest is part of Oman. Like, all of the fancy stuff, all of the rich farmland or the archaeological sites are in Al Ain. The rest are in Oman, but it's still very beautiful. And I want to show you on Google Earth. So let me grab my tablet. Let me fire this up so I can show you. There we go. Make sure it's facing the right way. So as you can tell from up above, you can really see these mountains here. And you can see the desert. So the border's right here. You can see the desert stretching into here. All the rest is pretty much mountainous area. There's some desert down here too I should have talked about, but I only really explored up here. Let me show you this cool slideshow here. Look at the sandy water there, the mountains. So yeah, most of the governorate looks like this. It's very rocky and mountainous, but still very beautiful. Big, beautiful mosques, of course. Being in Oman, they love to beautify their mosques, but what Islamic country doesn't, right? But Oman has some stunners, don't they? There's an old fortress. This must be in Hamasa, I assume. There's a camel. There's a garden. This big gate is the entryway into the city. There's some of the oasis for you, isn't that? It looks refreshing, doesn't it? It looks like it's a really hot, warm day, and this looks nice and cool. Makes you want to jump on in. There's the gate again. Some of the fresh water. There are some afflage irrigation systems in the area. Look how beautiful. I love not just mosque art, but like art in religious spaces. Like, look at the chandelier. It's just like religious art just seems to have such like intricate details and everything. I think it's lovely. These little doors here that I assume slide open, gorgeous. And yeah, again, this is what the majority of the governorate looks like. So, not much to show you out here in the mountains. We can take a look around, but yeah, it's just this. Which, like I was saying when we were covering Yemen yesterday, it's not that it's like a bad or boring thing, it's just there's not much to show you on my channel. I do encourage you to explore and check it out yourself. A pool of water. What is this? A pool of water on the road to sea. Let's see what this is. That's really nice. I wonder if it's an underground flow or something. It's really pretty. Again, really refreshing looking. Let's check out the city. I got lost again. Well, there's Al Ain, so we're close. Yeah, Buraimi. There we go. We already kind of looked at a slideshow, but oh yeah, I remember the slideshow. It's a lot of flowers. So I took a lot of pictures of flowers there. So you can, like, even from above, see the division here between the Emirates and Oman. Like I said, all of, like, the cool stuff is over here. This is just a little city town. That doesn't mean that there's nothing cool over here, though. I can show you the historical district over here of Hamasa. See the big fortress here. And really neat towers. This was, like I said, the old capital. So this area here, very, very important. But the rest of the city is kind of sprawled out from there, right? Let me see if there's anything else I could show you. Let's see. Was it over here? I think it was this one. Kind of an example of the, like, camping that you can do in this area. Very traditional, little tents, and it's just a lot of sand. It's the Arabian desert. It's a whole lot of nothing. It's still very beautiful, right? There's something magical about that. But you can only look at pictures of sand. That's why I don't like to show like beaches and things, because you can only look at so many pictures of beaches. There you go. Yeah, that's a beach. Like, you can only look at so many pictures of the sand dunes and be like, yeah, those are sand dunes. So that's really neat, I think. Let's see what this is. Shueya pools. Oh, that's beautiful. Some more gorgeous running water up high in the mountains. Isn't this remarkable? Oh, that's so pretty. It's almost like kind of a Rocky Mountain landscape, isn't it, in North America? Very, very beautiful. But again, I don't have much to show you. Other than the beautiful mountains. Large baobab tree. Let's see the baobab tree. Oh my gosh, it is a large baobab. They weren't kidding. What's it doing there? Do baobab trees grow in Oman? I didn't know that. There's some of the irrigation system that they've had since so long ago. Look at this tree. It's so thick. Thick with two C's. That's so crazy. I wonder what it's doing there. But if you know your history of Oman, they had a lot of territories in eastern Central Africa. So maybe some baobabs were brought from that area, planted here. You think of baobabs, you think like Africa, Madagascar, right? How interesting. So yeah, there are little things to explore here and there in the region, but it's mostly just beautiful mountains and things. So I think I'm going to end it there, otherwise we're just going to be wandering around trying to find things to look at. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing. We're going to be hopping up here to Qatar next. So be sure to check that out tomorrow. It'll be up tomorrow. I hope you found this video relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a good night.